Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone had a fantastic holiday season. But in 2021, I will be creating a completely free YouTube series where I'll be teaching you everything that I've learned in landscape photography. So this is including editing, this is including composition, planning locations, everything that I learned will be covered in this course. Why am I even doing this? The reason why I'm doing this is because I've been seeing way too many ads. I've been seeing so many ads where a lot of the photographers, YouTubers, or whatever, they like to upload YouTube videos, and a lot of those YouTube videos are just 10 minutes of people talking and or cinematics or something like that. Not exactly tutorials, but if you want to learn how they edit, you have to pay a couple $100s in order to get their premium editing course. And I want to share all my tricks and tips with you guys for free. I don't agree with that business strategy. You know, it's great that they're making money, but I want to share everything that I know about landscape photography for free. So I already have 7 courses planned out here. I already have 7 lessons planned out here. So, you know, these are just 7. We're going to have way more than this, maybe around 30 lessons or something like that. But these are the 7 lessons that I want to start off with. And I think they're great lessons to get started. Remember that these aren't just for beginners. These can be for beginners, but I'm going to be covering a lot of these tricks and tips that I feel like have been hidden from the YouTube community, such as the one I'm going to be showing you guys in a bit after I explain the 7 lessons. So the first lesson is gear, smartphone, and RAW mode. And a lot of people have the misconception that you need good gear, but honestly, you can just use your smartphone as long as you shoot in RAW mode. RAW mode is the bread and butter of photography, and you need it in order to edit. Yeah, you can do JPEGs, but the problem with JPEGs is that there's not much flexibility in terms of image. Like if you want to recover, you know, the shadows or something, if you want to decrease your highlights, you don't get much flexibility with JPEG. So that's why I'm saying RAW mode is the bread and butter. You don't always have to shoot RAW mode, but people who want to really seriously get into photography, RAW mode is the way to go. Second lesson is composition. As a beginner photographer, I struggled a lot with composition, and I think composition is one of the most important lessons that someone can learn. We'll be covering about like the rule of thirds, the golden rule, angles, and so on. The third lesson will be camera settings, exposure triangles. This is a lesson more for beginners. The fourth lesson will cover exposure. I feel like a lot of people overexpose too much or underexpose. Should I underexpose or overexpose? That we'll be covering that lesson as well. But lesson 5 will be on saturation. A lot of the times, especially on Instagram, I see too much saturation. That's myself included. I feel like I have too much saturation in some of my image, and we'll be learning how to combat that. Number 6 will be taking a look at editing softwares. So I use a bunch of editing softwares. I've used Lemur, I believe, in the past. I've also used GIMP. I've used, you know, Affinity Photo. I've used like every known photo. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot. I don't know. Well, I've used a lot. I've used like the ones on the phone, Snapseed, all that stuff. But right now I'm using Photoshop and Lightroom. I'll be talking about my experience with those. But yeah, I mean, any editing software works, whatever works for you. But I'll try to break it down into a more objective view. Number 7, I think this is very often overlooked. Cropping and vignetting. Sometimes people vignette way too much, and people don't crop very often. I feel like cropping really brings in you know, a lot of emotion. I feel like cropping can do the image a lot of justice. So yeah, those are 7 lessons. They're going to be fairly short. They're not going to exceed 20 minutes or anything like that. But these are just 7 of the lessons. If you have any suggestions, anything you want to see, I'd be happy to add to this list. Okay, so one of the things that I want to go over first is this image, right? So this is my most recent image on Instagram. You can find me at landscape.luke. But I've been getting asked this question over and over again on my Instagram and through Reddit. But a lot of photographers, like I mentioned earlier, like to keep their secrets inside their premium tutorials. And one of the biggest things that they actually do is this thing called dodging and burning. And if you don't know what dodging and burning is, it's basically we can highlight the brighter parts and we can darken the darker parts. So what I did here is custom dodging and burning through through Photoshop, and I use the brush tool as well. So what you want to do to increase, the brightness of this branch is you want to create a new brightness and contrast layer, and you can just adjust the brightness here, maybe to like around 35. You can probably have a little bit more contrast and invert it so you hide everything. And what you want to do is manually paint the brightness to the areas that you want to make brighter. Right. So a lot of photographers, I'd say like mostly all the photographers do this. And they don't really say this in their YouTube tutorials, but that's basically what they do. It's very simple. And for the opposite, to darken it, all you have to do is the opposite. Just go to brightness, decrease that, invert that, and you can darken areas that you want darker. So that wraps up this video. If you have any friends who you feel like would enjoy this series, go ahead and share it, please. And if you feel like this series will be helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be releasing so many more videos this year, and I do want to make this helpful for you guys. So if you have any questions at all, please leave it down in the comments below or shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll be glad to help out. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.